Hello, ladies and
Hello.
gentlemen. Welcome back. We are just moments away from getting underway with our second game today. It's going to be Team SoloMid versus Cloud9 HyperX.
They're jumping on here, so it's going to be TSM versus C9. C9 had a very come-from-behind victory against SK yesterday. Yeah, that's right.
Lucky victory.
They were 13,000 gold behind when they were doing Fire Giant. They got a wipe, they stole Fire Giant, and they rushed right down the center to kill off the Titan to get a victory. Ending the game 9,800 gold behind. Nearly 10,000. I mean, that's incredible comeback. But again, lucky is a pretty good way to look at it. In the way it's fortunate that they're able to get the right circumstances to hit, and given the fact that SK kind of we're a little more lax toward the end. We're 13,000 gold ahead. We're at the Fire Giant. Things are going well. We're going to end the game now. And then C9 just jumps on them. Now they're going up against TSM, which, of course, they were able to get a victory yesterday. Pretty strong. But it's weird to see how well they've kind of transitioned from the launch tournament.
Sure. Well, we'll see exactly what does go down. We'll get a good sneak peek at which of these teams is stronger. TSM, no roster changes. Cloud9, a whole mess of them, but they do have a victory. And TSM
I'm sorry, no,
does
Mortality won yesterday.
A loss to their credit.
TSM
That's
lost
right.
loss. That was mine.
So our first two bans coming out, Zhonghui off the board, as is Circuit. We'll see what the final bans are. We'll see if we get that Loki ban from TSM that's been so popular in that first picking position to force out the Mercury ban from the other team. Or will they ban on something like the Aphrodite, or even something else that we haven't seen in a while? The Osiris. Osiris falling completely off the board.
That's right.
Yeah, with very minor changes to him, a little bit of attack speed debuff, and chin size getting nerfed a bit. Osiris no longer considered playable, although he feels to me like one of those gods that we'll see someone just start playing it, and all of a sudden he'll just be on every team.
Hey, what happened to Osiris? I should play that guy.
Yeah.
And then they just do that. And
very
all of a
similar to
sudden it
Thor.
works.
How Thor always comes in
for
and
no
out.
reason. He just disappeared for 2 months. And
Yeah.
then they're like, wait, why are we not playing Thor? He's actually really good. Circuit and Freya banned out here. Nuwa and Zhonghui banned away. And, of course, that leaves the mighty Mercury marching his way into the first pick here.
The lovely Loki.
That's right.
Available to counterpick that Mercury.
Nice play.
And I would like to see Geb Loki drafted here by Cloud9, but they're going to take Giannis, even though they don't have Sio on their team anymore.
Not even a point. This is literally just give Giannis to Optics.
Yeah,
because
he's very good.
Yesterday, he dominated everything. I mean, the only time C9 had a very good team fight is because Optics was doing well. And so give him his best character, make it work, and we'll see what happens after that. That's going to leave Rom and Hubble on the table, though. Geb locked in means pretty much guaranteed that C9 is going to ban out Athena, I would imagine. Apollo locked in as well. We'll see if the ban comes out. But, I'm expecting Athena here since Geb's already locked in.
Yeah, you would expect that Athena banned out here would be the expectation by Cloud9. It is TSM's. I'm sorry, Cloud9 does have first ban in this phase, so I would expect the Athena ban, although they could be looking and saying, hey, they also don't have a legitimate solo laner. We could look to make a big play there as well, but my expectation is they're going to ban Vulcan, because duh.
That's a thing. Now, Game Hunter does love running Vulcan in the solo lane, so there could be a shot at him, and you're looking at the solo lane. Maybe they're looking to pick up a character that doesn't do well against Vulcan. I mean, Vulcan is a lot stronger than people give him credit for. He's one of my favorite characters, certainly. Has a lot of poke, a lot of burst damage, and if utilized properly, where instead of going for the big-time, long-range ultimates, you go for medium or right at your feet, you can actually do a lot of damage over time and get a lot of kills. Actually, he's my best character in League overall.
Really?
Yes, Vulcan.
How about that?
The Vulcan.
So Hubwa likely to be your solo laner for Game Hunter. You would expect that. Probably something like a Ra in the mid lane to match with that. It would be or even Lobster's Agni coming out, although that would give them a tremendous amount of magical burst and not a lot of frontline presence. They do have that squishy solo laner. So we'll see what the final picks are, as Nemesis does get banned out by TSM. No jungler for Cloud9 HyperX to match up with that Apollo and Geb. So we'll see what Cloud9 does elect to pick up here. They do have Fenrir. Taking a look at him, it looks like potentially as their jungler. Is this going to be the revolution of Fenrir here in European competitive play?
We shall see. He's locked in here for C9. We'll see if he's going to be played. I mean, it's probably going to be either jungler or solo at this point. He has to be. Across the way, TSM has two selections to make. You can see by those little blue Cheerios in bottom left corner of the screen next to Zhonghui's head. The selections will be made pretty shortly here. They still need a support, and Athena is still available, so I imagine they're going to select her and probably lock her in instantly. The other selection, though, they do need a very strong, it looks like they need a solo laner here, or maybe even a jungler, depending on how they want to run it. They're going to be hovering on Bastet.
Wow, they're going to take the basket.
I imagine Mercury solo, Bastet jungle?
Well, Bastet should have a pretty decent matchup against Giannis as long as his portal's down in terms of gank potential.
You're thinking mid.
No. I'm thinking her out of the jungle. And, oh, goodness gracious, yeah.
I mean, it's got to be Habwa and mid Bastet. And then we're going to run Habwa in the solo with Mercury in the jungle. They could also run Mercury solo Bastet jungle with Habwa mid, which is probably a little bit more likely. I think Mercury has a great matchup in the solo lane as far as how it's played. With Raw locked in, it looks like that's going to be the solo laner for C9 with Fenrir in the jungle. Although they could run Giannis, but Optics got to take Giannis. It looks like he's going to head on over. So NQ will be taking Raw. It's going to be a Raw Mercury matchup. That's it. Raw Mercury matchup, Habwa in the mid lane, Bastet taken by Cubo in the jungle, and then Ram and Athena up against that Geb Apollo. So we'll see how the Raw Mercury matchup goes. Not his best matchup.
No.
It's not.
It should be an easy lane for Raw.
Yes.
The jungler coming out is going to be Bastet. She actually has some decent kill potential versus Raw, unless he's going to pick up that early sprint, which we would expect. Probably the Heavenly Agility rush out of the Raw there. And he can pretty safely build damage as long as he has that sprint 3 on such a low cooldown. He'll be fine versus the Cats and against Mercury, realistically. Actives, really, for NQ, once he gets his sprint and his beads online, he's pretty much safe in that lane and can do whatever he wants and farm up as aggressively as he'd like.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what's been working for the past 3 months or so. If you see a very strong, sustained character in the solo lane, you pick a burster. We've seen Anubis work incredibly well against characters like Aphrodite and Ra. We've seen characters, Mercury can fit in that role, but, you look for that burst style. Bakasura has been really great against heal and sustain style characters in the solo lane, so Mercury could fit in that role. The issue is that Ra has that slow, which is very difficult for melee style characters to deal with. That Divine Light keeps them cut. But let's look at the players and see how well they've been doing or what they really look like here. We're going to see NQ, of course, in the solo lane, the C9, the two remaining members of the old C9 roster, Youngbei and NQ, still sporting that nice blue and white. Got Optics standing in for the mid lane, did fantastic yesterday on that Giannis play. He's going to be playing Giannis yet again today, so if you got Optics in your fantasy, I imagine we might see more people picking him up next week. Emilito on Guardian, and of course we've got Hyrock in the jungle, and actually looking at the stats, we should be able to see a pretty strong, let me see, Emilito actually currently is the lowest GPM out of all players in the Pro League.
Yeah, well, he suffered. He had a tough game certainly yesterday, but take a look at their opponents today. Team SoloMid. You should have plenty of lovely pictures of these gentlemen here as you see from left to right. Game Hunter in the solo lane. Cuvo Fred, a.k.a. King Joffrey, in the jungle. You got Lobster in the mid lane. Trixtank, also known as King Joffrey. They both look like King Joffrey to me, as their guardian, and Smek will be the hunter. So the Young Danes, you got Lobster, Smek coming over from Cloud9 in a trade about 6 months ago, and Game Hunter, the God Hunter, not having a great performance in his last game. They did fall to mortality, the new team of Sio and Bloody Tech.
Sure.
But can they find a victory over the once number 2? This used to be, the powerhouses of Europe, and now kind of fighting for that 3rd, 4th position. So we'll see if TSM can take out Cloud9 HyperX.
My question today, and I think a lot of people that are playing fantasy right now, their question today is, can Game Hunter be Game Hunter? Because yesterday we did not see a Game Hunter performance by any stretch of the imagination. He is commonly referred to as God Hunter. I mean, he started in the Smite competitive scene as a hunter player, Neath, one of the best Neaths in the world, transitioned over into solo, and now since then has been one of the best solos in the world, very reliable and very talented. But yesterday we did not see him come out to play. Same thing goes for TSM overall, right? I mean, if you're going to get a loss, you're not really expecting a whole lot of stats from that in general, but I think we're really expecting Game Hunter to skyrocket here in that solo lane. But the question is, can he play a Mercury against NQ's Raw? NQ has been playing Raw for a very, very long time. He was well known for his tier play, and then once the Warriors fell off, he went straight to Raw, and Raw's been his go-to character. So NQ playing his best character in the solo lane up against a Mercury. Now, it is Game Hunter, and we've watched him play Vulcan and beat people, so why
not Mercury, right? But another thing here that's going to be difficult for TSM is you do have Hebo in the mid lane going up against Fenrir, and Fenrir, if you're unaware of the Brutalize and Crushing Wave interaction, Brutalize will follow Hebo through the Crushing Wave. So part of what makes Hebo, or Habwa, if you will, a viable mid laner, given all of the gank potential coming out of the jungle, is the fact that Crushing Wave is a very, very good escape if you don't have physical blocking like a Thor wall or a Mirror wall. However, if you're Fenrir and you pop out a Brutalize, even if he Crushing Waves away, you will follow him right to his destination. So be sure to keep an eye out for that with the Fenrir.
As most solo laners know, as Habwa is commonly played in the solo lane, Fenrir is one of the strongest counters you can have against you because, of course, he's going to have the stun.
So the end of Habwa, solo lane.
That's
right.
Where
it all ended.
That's what happened. I mean, you can't be knocked up while you're brutalizing. So the water spout's not going to do it. If you try to ult away, he's going to follow you all the way and then stun you when you get there, then pick you up and bring you right back to where you ulted from. Yeah. I mean, he's got a strong combination. Plus, Habwa does not deal with damage. Habwa's strength is, I'm going to knock you up, I'm going to kill you before you kill me. He's not a very high damage character. I believe he's the second lowest base HP HP value in the game. Hubwa, of course, Hell being the lowest. Is it third?
I don't know. I think it's Hell, Anubis, and then like Circuit, Hebo are kind of all
tied.
area,
Okay. Yeah, definitely a very weak character. So Fenrir is great at kind of punishing that. So we'll see how well it works with Hyrok in the jungle and Fenrir. Now, granted, we did see Hyrok play Mercury yesterday, notably one of the best jungles in the entire game, and did not do very well.
That's true. That's very true. We'll see if Hyrok can do it with Fenrir. Let's go ahead and introduce your teams. We are in game, lady and gentlemen. It is Team SoloMid wearing the blue trunks, fighting on the bottom side of the minimap and the left side of your spectator UI. It's going to be Lobster in the mid lane as Hubwa. Smek and Trixtank will be comprising your duo lane as Ram and Athena. Vo Fred in the jungle as Bast, and Game Hunter will be your solo lane Run.exe Mercury. Their opponents today, they are Cloud9 HyperX wearing the red trunks, fighting out on the Chaos side of the map, top side of your minimap, and right side of your spectator UI. It's going to be Emily 2 as that Volcanic Geb, supporting Young Bay as the Hunter on Apollo. Their jungler will be Hyrok as Fenrir, NQ in the solo lane as the 6-foot Chicken Raw, and finally in the mid lane, it is Optics on his signature Giannis.
Giannis indeed, and he did very, very well the day before, so we'll see how well he can do this time around. I mean, Giannis is an amazing character. I mean, realistically, he's one of the guys you look to see if he can make it right. Yesterday, he ended up going, it looks like, 5-2-5 even though they won the game, but only partially. They were losing the match the entire time. But as far as damage done, he ended up dropping himself. It looks like 29,000 damage on a game where they were 13,000 gold behind. That is pretty effective. In fact, a lot of the times where the team fight went the way of C9 yesterday, it was just because Optics got a 4-man ultimate and then a 3-man unstable vortex and got a portal and then pushed his whole team through. I mean, he's played so well on that Giannis. Buffs are starting up here. Looks like Cube Fred's going to split the golden experience, of course, as you often do. With Game Hunter should hit level 2. Yep, there's hitting level 2 on Game Hunter, as is the standard play. Going to go for the blue buff and clear this one out. Push over to the solo lane here. We'll see how well it works out. I mean, it's going to be Fenrir Raw, which is really hard for a Bastet Mercury to play with.
Yeah, the double assassin, they're going to have some trouble dealing with all the sustain and the relatively tankiness of the assassin Fenrir here. So it should be, you're very right, it should be a very aggressive early laning phase here in the solo from Cloud9. And look for Hyrok. You know, it's hard to tell how comfortable he's going to really be in the jungle, but I would assume that you should be looking for him to make an early rotation over to the orange buff potentially, or even the backside XP camp on the right side here, and look to steal a bit away from Vo Fred.
Lobster knocking up Optics in the mid lane. Looks like Unstable Vortex is working pretty well here. Checking on the left side, Trixtank looking for a taunt, maybe. Show on the ground. And Lito pushing forward here to see if he can't help out with Young Bay's push. Oh, Trixtank in the forefront, dashing back with that preemptive strike. There goes the roll out front. Now Lito's going to push it back to the tower. Shockwave going to hit 2. Trixtank dropping low.
Yeah, Trick's going to take a little bit of damage for his trouble there.
I like this. Early rotation to mid.
Yeah, Hyrok's here. He's going to have a stun available most likely, but Lobster seems to have spotted it out with this ward just off of the orange buff on the red side.
Right.
And here, I'm not sure that I really like this play from Hyrok to go and farm his own side of the map neutrally. I feel like that with the pressure they got put out in the solo lane, they could have done quite a bit more there. And Game Hunter, in fact, getting the better of NQ, though, somehow in the solo lane as the Mercury poking him down over and over again.
Having a good rave party over here with that new Run.exe Neon Mercury skin, looking to push up NQ. NQ's got the heal, but Game Hunter does not seem to care. And here's the thing about Mercury, is if you get a window and you commit fully, I mean, Mercury is not the kind of character that can, you know, half a foot in, half foot out, or 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing. You got to go all the way in and get the damage, because you will be able to out-damage a lot of characters in the game. There's a major look. There's a grab into the minions looking for NQ. Can he punch him down here? The sprint activation should be enough to keep him alive. There goes the hit, but that will be enough to get him out of the fight. But Game Hunter is driving the pace of this lane.
Yeah, just got the one archer advantage, went ahead and went in on an NQ there. Takes some damage for his trouble, but does have the health pod to heal himself back up. So nice job there. And Hyrok still camping here in this mid lane, just forcing the Hubwa out over and over and over again. Optic's going to have a pretty decent wave to push into this tower here, as well as to go ahead and let the minions deny themselves, keeping Hubwa outside of experience range.
End of the game yesterday, 2-2-3. Not going to be making the same performance mistake today, as he's going to be playing Mercury. And here's the thing, Game Hunter knows how to get gold, and once you get gold on Mercury, that's all you really need. We'll see what he can do into the mid stage of the game. They have a lot of late game potential on the side of TSM, and we'll see what they can do. I mean, you've got Bastet, Mercury, and Hubwa plus Rom on the same team, and your support is Trixtank. That's looking pretty juicy as far as the transition goes. Ultimate coming out for Optics to left lane, though. Ultimate's going to come through, going to hit no one. Emilito a little bit late, knocked into the tower, though. Ultimate there, looking for Emilito. Can he get the shots down? Is the question. One. Second one to come out shortly here, looking for the hit. Not going to get it. Portal on the ground. Emilito survives here as they jump on Hyrok in the jungle. Nothing comes of it.
Yeah, and nothing doing there, yeah, as you mentioned. hi-rez does have the ultimate available. Optics rotating back across, and yeah, he's going to go ahead and pop on into this hub wall here. He's going to take the burst from Giannis, but isn't going to be enough. Crushing Wave coming through. Brutalized to follow, but Lobster, with the presence of mind, turns around, throws out a water cannon, gets himself an easy kill on the hi-rez. And
Apollo.
again,
Apollo.
It feels like it's a little bit of a
gets it.
Of a lack of, I guess, practice here from hi-rez. You know, still really working at getting his competitive game together.
Youngbae trying to get away here. Damage shield while on the taunt comes out.
The
Vortex
Geb
hits
shield.
2 though. The Geb shield keeps him alive. Smek wants the hit, can't get it there. Rotating comes over from Game Hunter. Major Look shouldn't be able to get this one out, so he's not going to be able to go for it. He's going to clear the wave out and head back over. We do have Raw. The Searing Pain not going to hit though. Got the punch from Mercury. Going to get the grab though. Not going to hit the Celestial Beam. There's not much. Stable Vortex comes out and they can't get the kill. Game Hunter dashing away. He does have an ultimate available if he wants to use it here. Should be able to keep him safe from the onslaught from hi-rez. Oh, not anymore.
Yeah, now he
He's going to go back to his tower.
Well, Hubwa, you know, finds himself that early kill. He does die, of course, to back it up, but will be able to pick up a first blood for himself, which should help him out a bit in this mid lane here, as Giannis will be able to outpoke him as long as he's able to dodge those water spouts at about this point in the game. So, important kill for Lobster, keeping him basically equal to that Giannis in the mid lane.
Looking for the follow-up here on the left side. Both supports going to walk by each other in high five. Game Hunter is going to elect to finish off that golden bow immediately. We'll see what he builds up into next after his Warrior Top B, of course. Across the way, we do see NQ sitting at 3,100 gold. Game Hunter is at 3,250. So 150 gold lead with the fact that he's probably going to clear this wave out and maybe lose some gold in the tower if Game Hunter's fast enough. There's a Major Look. There's a few punches pushing up, and we'll see if he can clear it out. The blue buff will be dropping shortly for him to keep his mana pool very, very healthy. We do have NQ rushing that heavily agility as predicted by Bart. You know, make sure that's all secure. Of course, that is mainly a counter to Cubo Fred on Bastet, keeping yourself alive with the extra heal and the shorter cooldown, but also allowing you to avoid the slow from the cats. And we do see a rotation from hi-rez.
It's going to be spotted out by this ward by Game Hunter, though, and he's going to be happily back inside of his tower. hi-rez, yeah, he's going to make himself seen now. Now he knows the Game Hunter knows that he's there, and he's going to go ahead and fall back maybe towards the mid lane. But there's not going to be wards spotting out his positioning here, but they do know that he's started to shade back towards this left side of the map, and Lobster playing appropriately defensive as hi-rez does go to farm the back side camps. Now mid-camp spawning, not for another 30 seconds or so, and really no jungle boss available, so it's a tough time to be a jungler when there's this much ward coverage on the map. We'll see if anybody's able to put anything together. Bastet simply leeching some farm off of the mid lane.
I'm going to clear this out here. Looks like Object's going to be heading home. Looks like to see what he's going to buy up. Purification beats 3. Now he's, of course, get up against a Mercury. He's up against an Athena. Of course, might be able to beat the slow from Cubo Fred, as well as the knockup from Lobster. So definitely a lot of things he can prevent with that greater purification. Dorado's Gauntlet is completed for both hunters here. Youngbae is not going to double stack. He's going to go straight for the boots. We'll see if Smek decides to go the way of double stacking. He is known to go a little bit more strange in his builds. He actually was one of the few hunters to pick up Transcendence more a little bit earlier on. Object's taking a lot of damage mid lane here. Lobster look like he wants to go in on it. Unstable Vortex is going to hit, but not as much damage as you'd expect here. Right side,
only one side
Game Hunter is fighting hard. NQ's pushing up, but not enough.
Yeah, Game Hunter's doing just a great job here. I mean, the early golden bow, it's finished now. Shouldn't have any problems with clearing waves at this point. Should be okay versus the Raw. Raw will still be able to force, you know, the odd large minion into the tower and whatnot. But Game Hunter, you know, gets a lot of farm, a lot of levels in this lane. Actually going to ult in on to NQ here. And there's going to be an ultimate on top of it. Heavenly Agility used by the chicken. But there is going to be a taunt coming back in. 1, 2, 3, enhance. And down goes NQ. Game Hunter picks up a kill and the first kill in the solo lane.
Now, we used to give praise to the Guan Yu Athena combo, where you just kind of keep it on top, and the Athena ultimate would come down on the horsey, and that would just be the big combo. But, you know, Mercury has a great, you know, combo with Athena as well, and a little bit, you know, of that essence is still there. We can grab someone, keep them close, and get the ultimate guaranteed as Athena dashes away from the very scary Unstable Vortex. At this point in the game, we're going to be looking at a very strong 1,000 gold and 1,200 experience lead for Team SoloMid, and we're waiting for that transition to go over into the 10-minute mark where the laning phase starts to come to a close here. We're very much in that laning transition. Across the way, Apollo is going up against the Rom lane here. Youngbae and Smek going head-to-head as they have, they're on, very similar, actually, they're on opposite teams as they were from the launch tournament, laning against each other as they do meet up again today. The Gold Fury is available and warded by Trix Tank to see if they want to get this area down. They're waiting for some kind of initiation, but it's delicate.
Athena's Trix Tank here. Got a great angle on Optics. Optics in some trouble. Needs to use his portal to get through the wall. Going to take a lot of damage, though, and they just... they didn't follow that up. I don't know why. I guess he just assumed that he was going to go ahead and port out of there and didn't want to invest any more cooldowns, but it would have been an easy kill with one more in-hand attack, and they both kind of just fell off. Maybe some miscommunication there.
Which is why exactly Optics decided to go for the shorter range portal on the right side of the wall. Purification speed's on Lobster here, the Brutalize. He'll get it! Lobster can't stop it! And that's the problem with Fenrir versus Habwa. You can't stop the dog at that point. He's going to be pushing us there, and that's going to be a free kill for C9. 2-2 as we do look at the charts right now. Climbing closer to that threshold of equilibrium between gold and experience of these two very fine teams today. Looking like a little bit in the lead of TSM for now, but very nominal considering the time frame here. And so we're going to bring this up. But, you know, honestly, if you're not really into the esports content at all, let's check out what's coming up next here on the screen. You see the art show will be coming up next at 4 p.m. EST. That will be the show where you go over all the cool art in the community, and that will be a fun time for those of you who do like to see the very creative works of artists as the rotation comes out in the mid lane.
Yeah, towards the mid lane here, Bastet's just going to put out some harass onto Giannis. Nothing that Optics can't deal with, though. Going to eat the dot. And, you know, they're perfectly happy to keep the pace of this game pretty slow, it seems, both teams. 2 kills apiece at 9 minutes, 30 seconds. All towers still remaining, and, of course, all Phoenixes. The goal difference is under 1,000, the XP under 500. You're basically looking at an all-squared game and probably expecting the first Gold Fury to be really the thing that breaks this game open. And that fight I would expect to be coming along as soon as the Devourer's gloves are fully stacked up and the boots get started on the Hunter. Youngbei already there. Smek not far behind. He does have almost 2,000 gold in hand. So maybe once Smek is able to finish off his boost, you'll see this Gold Fury rotation coming out. But Trick, Stank, and Smek already leaving the lane and shading that way.
Well, Smek's got 1,800 gold in hand right now, and it's a lot of gold to hold on to. We'll see when he goes home and starts to pick it up. Cubo Fred about to finish off his Jotun's Wrath right now. He's got a very heavy mace, and he's about to make it into a Jotun's mace. We do have the Game Hunter about to finish off his Warrior Tao B to make sure that he has that extra pen and movement speed to get closer and closer to his target. Tier 3 Head of the Gods is going to be on a 1 support right now, but Emilito is lacking in the gold department since he did not go for the Watcher's Gift as he did yesterday. But again, that's why he ended up falling behind. He's actually the lowest in GPM. Look for initiation here. There's the bolt on top of Lobster. Oh, the Optics hold him hitting 3. Crushing Wave forces him away. Athena's Apollo's going to be avoided there by the portal. Now looking for Optics. The punches are coming out. Mercury's got to get close. Dashing away is Trickstang squashed by NQ's Light of Destiny. Now looking for Cubo Freddy's on top of the wall. Can't jump away. There's the damage to 4 players on top, and they can't get away from this one. It's going to be a big disengage from TSM. C9 gets a 3-for-1 exchange. They traded their support for 3 of the enemy players. A big worth coming out there as they're trying to defend this tower. Rom's backing away. The Gold Fury is now contested by C9. Can the 2-man squad defend it?
Nah, they don't really have a snowball's chance in hell here. Smek uses ultimate to secure that kill on Emilito under the tier 1 tower in mid. Outside of that fight, which, I mean, looking at the way that fight went was a good decision, but if maybe that ultimate could have done a bit more in terms of, you know, I guess turning that fight hopefully in their favor, but it was used at least to secure a kill and get something out of it, but it does end up being a 3-man wipe, of course, plus a Gold Fury, which is looking at a 1,200 gold lead in favor of Cloud9. They were down by about 300 going into that fight, so a big 1,500 gold swing for them.
Huge swing for them. That was just a bit of a split fight for TSM. We saw Lobster get initiated on before anything else happened. And that's kind of the thing, right? Anytime you see a team fight where someone's out of position and they're scrambling to recover the team fight, is never really going to go well for them unless some big play gets made there. And that's kind of the problem that TSM is suffering from right now. C9 has now pulled ahead very significantly in the lead. 1,200 gold and 2,500 experience here at the 12-minute mark in the game, Bart. And C9 is really showing their stuff. Conversely to yesterday, where they really didn't have a big lead. In fact, they weren't winning at all throughout the match yesterday, and now at the point where they're standing, they're looking pretty sharp. TSM has to start scrambling behind. But again, here's the thing. You've got Habwa, Rom, Bastet, and Mercury on one team. Anyone that makes mistakes on C9 late game is going to get bursted instantly. Yeah,
I mean, it is a lot is riding on the back of Youngbei and Optics. And NQ... it's a little surprised to see him go Breastplate of Valor here, not for that like Book of Thoth and Narada Tahuti style build for Raw. He does have the Heavenly Agility and the beads now online. Should be very difficult for him to get ganks, but I think that early kill from Game Hunter kind of gave him the willies a little bit here. So you're not going to have the damage really coming out from Raw till a bit later. And is it going to be in time as Smek, Lobster, Fred, and Game Hunter come online with only Athena in the front line versus hi-rez and Emilito, neither of which are going to be putting a lot of damage late game, and neither will NQ at this point. It's definitely a dangerous game for Cloud9. They need Optics to really snowball hard now, and good for them. He's 2 levels ahead of Habois.
Yeah, the levels are going to make a big difference here, and we'll see if they can leverage that properly. 13 minutes into the match, 5-3 here, as we see Bastet trying to steal away a back-end buff. Hope for it to spawn, but he had just missed it. We do see, actually, a rotation coming out from Optics, seeing if there's anyone in the episode. The jungle looks like we're going to see hi-rez staying there as well. Gets a little bit hit by the Ninetales of Justice. There goes the portal ground. Crush Wave going to completely miss there. A little uncharacteristic from Lobster, actually missing a lot of ultimates this game, kind of prematurely popping them off. Knowing when to actually pop the ultimate for Habois is a very key skill for Habois players to have. Game Hunter dashing away on the right side does know that there's a Fender in the area and does not want to get caught or picked up by that big bite. Game Hunter rocking tier 2 purification beads, and it's pretty long cooldown to wait for if you have to pop it when they're in the dog's mouth.
Pop it off in the dog's mouth. That's
right.
Tough way to be. So
tough.
yeah, I mean that's one of the things that Fender does excel at, closing distances. And well, let's hold that thought as we look over on the left side here. QFred in a lot of trouble, surrounded by several. Actually, he's going to narrowly escape through those Giannis unstable vortex there. hi-rez going to take the shortcut through the wall, but they're not going to be able to follow it up, and that's a lot of cooldowns used to try to get that kill.
A lot of cooldowns used indeed, and that's kind of the issue, right? Is if you don't get anything for it, it's just a big win for the enemy team. You can see that 2 ultimates still stand on the side of TSM. The Gold Fairy's going to be coming back here in just about 2.5 minutes or so. Right side, Game Hunter is holding down this lane pretty effectively. There's the major look. Looking at the itemization, Game Hunter has finished off his boots for penetration. Geb just ulted the air as Game Hunter went the opposite way. His premonition is so powerful. He saw the blink in and he's like, no, I'm not having any of this.
Nah,
walked the opposite way and dashed away.
I'm alright. Game Hunter's been sitting on this golden bow and boots for some time, 1400 gold in hand, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see what he goes into as his next item. Any predictions?
Honestly, he's got to get some crit there. I think that
he's got crit there.
With his gold, even more. I think the biggest thing for him is that with the gold he's getting, and the fact that he's not really under pressure and there's not been a lot of fighting going on, he can just rush Deathbringer at this point.
So we expect him to go back here at this point, pick up the 1500 gold short sword, and be perfectly happy with the additional crit that it grants?
Very much so. I think that's exactly what he's going for. And they want a lot of damage coming out, and that's the big thing, right? If you get close enough to start punching some people, especially with the golden bow, if you get a big AoE crit going on, it's going to make a really big difference for him. So I'm curious to see what he's going to build into and how that's going to change his overall playstyle, and of course how C9 is going to deal with it. I mean, he's got a lot of control, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, honestly, his last 5 games, his third item has always been Deathbringer, and then he goes into Rage and Malice afterwards. So it seems like it's going to be Deathbringer through and through, and I like the idea that he rushes it, especially with the amount of gold he's getting in the solo lane with the lack of pressure that's existing there. Lobster's going to be going for a Bancroft's Talon first, just for the amount of healing you get from the passive as well. Adds a little bit more damage there on top, the lower HP that you go down here. Looking at the gold, though, 6,700 for Emilito, and across the way, Trickstank at 6,700. So without the Watcher's Gift, Emilito's keeping up.
And you were right. It is going to indeed be the short sword, and a couple of wards for Game Hunter. He's going to head back to his lane, and now at this point, he's got to feel pretty good about putting the pressure on him and making him use that heavenly agility in the lane and not have it available to rotate towards something like the mid lane or an objective. Speaking of objectives, Gold Fury going to be coming back up in about 10 seconds. Fred over here already picking up the orange buff for TSM, and they are in the area. Optics and Emilito doing a bit of counter warding as well, and it looks like we're going to have a fight breaking out shortly here.
Yeah, they're grouping up in the gold on the mid camp here. Emilito leading the charge, looking to shut down a little of the pressure from Kivo Fred. Specs coming on over. He's got his passive activated, looking for some kind of follow-up. hi-rez can start the move. Oh, there's a Gab ultimate on 3. There goes the follow-up. Optics coming through, going to hit the ultimate on Kivo Fred, forcing him back. Up in the air, Rom goes. Fenrir ultimate, keeping him in place. Rom ultimate coming through now. hi-rez dropping low. Crushing wave hits 2. NQ needs to be going down here if they want to win this fight. There goes the water cannon to take him out. The cat's on the ground, up in the air. Athena goes, laying right down on top of Lobster. hi-rez forced away. Smack goes down the backside. It's all Lobster by himself. He's got nowhere to go. The squash comes out. The portal comes out. He's going to fall down to the ground and die. His knees buckle underneath him, even with the water keeping him up in the air. And now we've got Trickstank backpedaling away. Kiwo Fred had to go home. The Gold Fury has spawned conveniently enough. Can Trickstank steal it?
It's another 3-for-1 in favor of Cloud9 if it turns into yet another Gold Fury. Good news for them. Trix and QR Fred are here. Fred doesn't have any CC to his name, though. Not going to be able to do much besides put out some harass on the hi-rez, but here comes Optics throwing out the damage onto Trickstank, trying to zone him out. Gold Fury getting low. Here he is in. There's a taunt coming out. Trickstank, can you steal it? Puts out his hand, but it's just a little bit too early. Going to pay with his life on that as well. Cloud9 able to secure it. Emilito going to pick up the hand on that. Dot coming out. Emilito to fall here unless he has a shield for himself. No, he's actually going to barely live here versus Fred. Fred throws out another couple of spells. Emilito just... Well, I mean, he's baiting him here, but can Fred get back out? They have to cover him leaping back, and he will leap back right into Optics, who is happily to pick up that kill. And in fact, there it's probably worth it to trade your support for a kill onto the jungler and get Optics even more ahead.
Definitely.
More gold to his name, and that is now a 3,000 gold lead and a 5,000 experience lead for Cloud9 HyperX. But we saw them win a game yesterday down 13k, so definitely not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Late ultimate from NQ, not going to land on Game Hunters. That will be on cooldown for the time being. NQ has a little bit of CDR with that Breastplate Devour, so we'll be coming up shortly. I mean, with max CDR at max level, the ultimate Ra is 30 seconds, so it's not really that big of a deal for him. It comes back pretty quickly here. But again, you know, I got to give major props to Optics. I mean, he is so calm and focused with the way he plays. You saw there with Bastet, Cubo, Fred jumping away, he just sat in the location and said, you know what? If you're going to get away to my jungle, that's fine. But if you ever come back, you're going to land right into an Optics shotgun blast to your face, and he gets the kill there. 2-0 in 7. He's one of 2 players who have yet to die this entire match. Him and Youngbei boasting up that 0 death so far. 10-5 right now. C9 is in the lead by about 3,400 gold and 5,700 experience. The experience making a big difference here, especially as we go forward towards that fire gen area. We're going to have shorter cooldowns and more damage base and scaling from those abilities here. 19 minutes into the match, we're going to see the right side area being awarded heavily by C9. Nice counter ward from Game Hunter left side, going to be able to clear out this Tuna Monster ward, punching that eyeball to death, and it's going to explode right there where it stood. The mid lane is being pushed up here by Lobster. Optics heading over to the left side, but, you know, again, C9 is really coming out strong today.
It's gonna be interesting to see how well Optics is able to perform when people start banning Giannis against him. It's coming.
Ah, that's it. His God pool is a little bit smaller than usual.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. Oh, Youngbei's going to go deep against Smek. And here is Emilito as well. They're going to throw out everything on him, and they're going to be able to pick up a kill onto Smek there. Easy peasy. HyperX is on the side of the map as well. They should be able to push in this tower fairly well with the Fenrir zoning out. Fred is not going to be able to make that rotation. Lobster stuck in the mid lane versus Optics. The solo lane is still there, and they're just going to leave Bay all by himself up against Strix Tank and not like to pressure the tower, but it is Optics going fairly deep on the Fred here, looking for another unstable Vortex. Cats can still jump back and actually going to drop the Cats, and now it's Optics the one in a bit of trouble. Going to throw out the Kamehameha, but it's not going to be enough just yet. Forced to go back through the wall, and Optics a little bit of overextension there. Not going to result in a kill, but is going to result in a back.
Pops the Aegis. There's the dog pick. I'm going to bring him away there. Purification beats after the fact. Lobster knocked away. Brutalize coming off cooldown shortly. Needs to get away from this one. The dunk's going to be enough. He squashes him into the ground as the shark eats his body. High-Rock falling through. There goes Trix Tank forced away. The portal will be on the ground. Apollo's up in the air looking for Bastet possibly. He's already on the ground pushing the tower. Will they defend this across the way? NQ is keeping Game Hunter busy, and that's a fantastic strategy. Trix Tank tries to taunt. The damage from Fenrir is way too much, and they have to back off. Cubo goes home, and now it's just Smek.
We're going to see a Fire Giant attempt come out from Cloud9 here? Or no?
Game Hunter! Ooh, doesn't get the snipe on the right side. Barely missed up his pop's ultimate. He sees the dog. He sees the rock. He sees it all coming his way. He has to ult out. The tower's going to go down as well. They just wiped 3 tier 1 towers all in a row.
Yeah, they did. And they have an opportunity here if they want it to try to take it the Fire Giant objective. It doesn't look like they will. It'll be a very, very risky play, but they do have the Hog 3 to their name. They just don't have a lot of HP besides that.
Oh, man. What a strong lead for C9, a very different team than what we saw yesterday. SK was looking so much stronger than C9, and C9 credited with a lucky or fortunate win yesterday by the global community, but at this point, there's nothing lucky about the lead that they have now. C9 is winning through and through, in the lead right now for 6,000 gold over Team SoloMid, and the objectives are going all in their favor. Not a single tower has fallen on the side of C9. 3 towers down for TSM. The gold free will be coming back here in just about 80 seconds or so, and the question is, can TSM start to get objectives? Because if they keep missing every objective like they have been, they're not going to come back.
Well, and speaking of missing objectives here, not in position is Cloud9 starts the Fire Giant here. Where is TSM? Only Game Hunter on this side of the map at all, and this is a free Fire Giant for the boys in blue of Cloud9. Game Hunter forced out an Athena ultimate being used as well. Gonna go ahead and get picked up by Fenrir, and just gonna pull Game Hunter all the way out of there, and HyperX gonna chase him down with the sprint. HyperX looking much stronger in this game than he has in previous games in the Pro League.
Oh man, they're pushing away here. Paul down on top of Lobster. Lobster by himself again. No, he just big burst by unstable Vortex. His HP was vaporized there as HyperX pushes him out of the tower range. Here comes Strix Tank, but what can you do in a 3 versus 5 situation? Especially with a heal coming out from Raw. The tower, it's fallen down. It's looking grim for TSM. They have to scramble together. One of the best defenses they've had in history. So if you're a TSM fan, ladies and gentlemen, give it up and give your team some support because it's not looking so great.
Cloud9, a lot to prove coming into this Pro League with their new roster, looking like the first team that's going to go 2-0. We'll see if they can secure this kill. Tricksink to fall. NQ finds a snipe onto Fred in the backside there. Now it's a 1v5, and they push through the Phoenix. This could very well be game for Cloud9 HyperX. Only Smack there to defend, and they're going to go ahead and dive all in onto the Titan. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see Cloud9 with their first 2 wins. TSM with 2 losses already in this tournament as the Titan gets lower and lower. Minion's going to be streaming in shortly as the waves meet. Coming through his hub, trying to put the defense, but it's not enough and not in time. Down falls that Titan of Order, and it is Cloud9 HyperX over Team SoloMid.
C9, the first team in the Pro League to have a 2-0 win streak.
Yeah.
Of course, the first team to play 2 matches and win both of them. But statistically, I mean, they're doing very well. And, you know, looking at yesterday's performance to today's performance, there had to be some kind of divide there. I mean, yesterday, they came out like, okay, we're going to try and play this out, figure it out. SK looked dominant. They found a way to get a win, and that's just intelligent usage of their abilities. And here's the thing, right? Cloud9 was scattered. Sayo left. Their leader left, joined another team. Everything broke apart. They kept Youngbei and NQ, and they filled everything up with other players, and everyone's thinking, new roster, it doesn't work, it's not going to work, it's never going to work, give them a couple weeks. The first game, it's like, okay, this is what we expected, right? They're losing, they're falling behind. They find a way to win, and game 2 the next day,
they look great.
Dominant.
Well, they did look great. Let's take another look at just how great they are at Youngbei's Apollo, wearing that TSM Apollo skin that he earned at the launch tournament. And here he is. This is going to be the kill where he actually goes into the backside and is able to pick up some kills at the Gold Fury here. So you see he moves in, and the Fenrir ultimate's going to come out and onto the Mercury. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a basically max distance. That's actually after the Mercury kill. Max distance hit onto Smack there with that so beautiful. The roll had come through, and they're actually going to have a hard time chasing that kill. Youngbei able to secure it, and they're able to turn that into the 3-tower push.
Yeah, it's tough to be able to deal with that, especially with the Apollo presence. I mean, he got a couple kills throughout the game just by flying across. Lobster got focused a long time. And here's the problem, right? This is one of the reasons why Habwa, you know, for maybe about 7 weeks or so stopped being played in the mid lane, just because it's so easy to shut him down, right? I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of tools in his kit, and if you build the right jungler, you build the right hunter, you build the right mid to focus him, Habwa doesn't really have a way to get away, especially with Fenrir coming out. You got the optics hit. I mean, just too much damage coming through, and Lobster says, you know, I can do a lot of damage, but I take a lot of damage, and I can't stop Fenrir. He got shut down throughout the mid game, and that's just going to be a big, big win for C9. Now 2-0, the first team to go 2-0, and we're going to see some more games today for the NA Pro League. But again, coming after this in about an hour. The art show is starting at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern in about an hour. If you're looking at the time frame there,
minutes.
You can see lots of cool art and community artists coming together to make a very strong showing and see what cool stuff is being made. Again, a reminder, we are looking for people to submit ideas for the community skin, which is the exclusive item for buying 21 items. It's the bonus that you get for buying 21 items in the Odyssey. Lots of fun stuff. We're looking for your ideas so we can make it a very community good skin. The size of the burger is just about this big here. So
it's a big burger.
We're going to sign up for today, guys, for everyone here for the Pro League.
Well, before we do go, your games tonight, guys, at starting at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for the second game. It's going to be Ratchet versus Snipe in the first game. Of course, that is Thirst with the tag Ratchet, and then Cog Dig later tonight as well. So the former behemoths going up against in day number 2, TSM Cloud9. We just saw Cloud9 coming on the top. Who will win Cloud9? I'm sorry, TSM versus Cloud9 we already saw. I'm talking about Cog and Dig. There we go, Brain. Wait to go. And then besides that, you'll have Thirst and Snipe. We'll see the first games from Thirst and Snipe as well later today. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you at 7:30 p.m. Until then, Art Show at 4. For Dry Bear and hi-rez Bart, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later.